President Buhari pledged commitment to achieving economic growth and food sufficiency. Unilag lecturer indicted in sex for grade report suspended by institution. And Rwanda arraigns terrorists responsible for weekend attack that claimed 14 lives. Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration is working hard to ensure steady economic growth and food sufficiency while also addressing poverty in the country. Buhari made the pledge while declaring open the National Economic Summit in Abuja. He also stated that the issue of insecurity is being tackled while government is determined to invest more in education, health, and infrastructural development. On his part, Chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Aswe Igodalu, says the two-day event is packed to set agenda on what Nigeria should be discussing ahead of 2050 actually, when the country will become the third most populous one in the world.
Between now and a period of 30 years, with rolling 5-year periods, where do we as a country need to be so that we're competing with the biggest economies and the biggest countries in the world, so that we're all sitting at the same table with equal voice? So we need to look at where we are, and we need to look at how we need to get to where we should be. And that's the conversation we're starting at this summit. You know, where are we? Where do we need to be? How do we get there? That's the conversation. And we're optimistic. And we're also optimistic that whatever it is we say, our contribution will be reviewed, will be welcomed, will be discussed at government level, and a lot of it will be assimilated because Mr. President also shares the same view.
I think that the conversation was a very good one. We're in a position where we can either reap a demographic dividend, that is, gain a huge advantage from our population, or we can actually deal with the challenges of a bust. The critical thing is that we educate and ensure that all those people are well and equip them with an environment where they can create value. Obviously, people for their own good will plan their lives, and the more they plan their lives, the less children they will have. But the Emir was absolutely correct. The greatest antidote is education of the girl child.
Still, on the economic summit, varieties of issues affecting the growth of the nation was also discussed by stakeholders at the event. One of the topics discussed is Nigeria's growing population and its possible effect in years to come. Tunjioye has more.
It is perhaps one of the very important discussions on the future of Nigeria by public officers, religious and traditional leaders, captains of industries, and entrepreneurs. The Nigeria Economic Summit Group is concerned about the future of the country, hence the theme, Nigeria 2050, Shifting Gears. In this gathering, Nigeria's population is for scrutiny. Under the theme, 2050, Boom or Bust. 4 key issues are in focus: girl-child education, empowerment for women, over 10 million after-school children, and then the growth and development of the economy.
There are governors who can't make up their mind whether they are governors or whether they are imams or whatever. So people are going around building mosques, sending people to pilgrimages, and so on and so forth. And the question is, the money that comes from the center to our states, for example, whom is it meant for? So when you say that education is on the concurrent list, I worry that we are heading in a direction in which many of our states are largely providing opportunities for incubators of hatred to grow.
This population problem is perhaps the most important developmental challenge we have to face. If we don't have a demographic transition, we will never have an economic transition, and that is a fact. The second thing is we need to have a greater nuance in looking at population and demography, because Nigeria is one country, but it's many countries in many respects. Fertility rates in some parts of this country are like 8 child per woman. In other parts, they're 3. Okay, and it's extremely important to understand that. You also have huge variation in fertility rates determined by levels of education. So girls who have not completed secondary school tend to have, or women who did not have secondary education, tend to have more children on the average than those who have gone through secondary education. All the issues you have from herdsmen, farmer clashes, Boko Haram, drug addiction, out-of-school children, youth, these are all tied to the population we have. And the question is, how do you turn that into a productive one?
Is a law that is already existing in Nigeria. The challenge is, to what extent do we, either at the state level or even at the federal level, enforce the provisions of the of the Child Rights Act, which really talks about access to education, compulsory attendance at school. So it's a mismatch. You have a Child Rights Act that says all children of school age must be in school. And if they're not, the parents have a lot of explaining to do. And yet you have 10 million children that are out of school.
You know, we need to ensure that the girl child, yes, is educated, because if a girl child's educated, if a woman is as you say, empowered and has a livelihood, then even within these communities, you can see these baskets. You can see there's a woman behind me who's making perfume in one of these communities affected by crisis. They are able to take care of their communities. It improves life expectancy for their children. It reduces the number of, if a woman's educated, it reduces the number of babies ultimately that she has, because she understands the impact on herself and she understands the impact on her family and her community.
At the end of the panel discussion, one takeaway for both panelists and audience is that religion and belief system play a key role in solving many of these challenges. Playing down religion and encouraging diversity will surely help the country a lot. From Abuja, Tunji Oye, TV360 News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has presided over an extraordinary meeting of the Federal Executive Council, FEC. The meeting, which held in Abuja, discussed the 2020 budget proposal ahead of its presentation to the National Assembly. Present at the meeting were Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and other ministers. Others are the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, and Acting Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson. President Buhari is scheduled to present the 2020 budget to a joint session of the National Assembly on Tuesday at 2 p.m. The federal government has approved mass redeployment of senior government officials across ministries, departments, and agencies in a move aimed at repositioning the civil service for efficient service delivery. A total of 254 top government officials from salary grade levels 15 to 17 are affected in the exercise. According to a circular dated October 4th conveying the mass deployment, 74 directors, 84 deputy directors, and 95 assistant directors were affected in the exercise. The circular, signed by Director overseeing Office of the Permanent Secretary, A.I. Atta, indicated that those affected included newly promoted and existing directorate-level officers under the pool of the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation. She warned that any of the officers who disregard the redeployment order would be sanctioned in line with relevant civil service rule. The federal government had in August redeployed 36 officials in the directorate level from the SGL 15 to 17 in the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation. Well, heads have begun to roll following the publication of a Sex for Grade report by foreign media, BBC. Indicted in the investigative report is Boniface Igbenegbu, a lecturer at the University of Lagos. Igbenegbu was exposed by an undercover journalist, Kiki Modi, who disguised as a 17-year-old admission seeker. The lecturer has now been directed to proceed on an indefinite leave pending investigations into the report. Confirming his suspension, Vice Chancellor of the institution, Oluwatoyin Ogundikpe, says a panel has been constituted to investigate the issue. Igbenegbu, who is also a pastor at the Four Square Gospel Church, has been asked to step down from his role as pastor of a local brand. And to security, troops of Nigerian army have rescued 3 kidnapped civilians from the Boko Haram terrorists at a Ferji village in Bama local government area of Borno State. The Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Iliasu, announced this in a statement released on Monday. Iliasu says the troops safely detonated improvised explosive devices planted on Bita Yamteke Road in Borno State by the terrorists. He said the troops acted on credible intelligence to rescue the victims and engage the terrorists in a fierce gunfight. The army also recovered a truck loaded with grains from the terrorists after they fled and abandoned it. Well, the Federal High Court in Lagos has granted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, an interim order to seize cash and properties belonging to convicted former Acting Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Callistus Obi. Justice Saliu Saidu made the interim order following an application by the EFCC counsel Rotimi Oyedepo to seize a 35 million naira and a 22-room hotel belonging to Obi. Obi had bagged a 7-year jail term on June 3rd for committing fraud to the tune of 225 million naira. Justice Saidu has adjourned hearing of the case to November 4th, 2019. Still on judicial matters, the Federal High Court in Abuja has reviewed the bail terms and conditions it earlier granted to Jones Abiri, publisher of Weekly Source newspaper. Previously, Abiri was granted bail after he was arraigned on a 3-count charge bordering on alleged economic sabotage and terrorism in May. As part of the bail conditions, Ijoma Ojuku, the trial judge, had ordered the defendants to pay 100 million naira and produce one surety in like sum who owns landed property in Abuja. Samuel Ogala, Abiri's lawyer, however, brought the motion praying the court for an order varying bail terms and conditions granted to his client. Ogala said his client does not reside in Abuja and therefore knows nobody that has a landed property in the city who would stand as a surety for him. But Bagudu Sani, the federal prosecutor, opposed the bail application in a counter affidavit, urging the court to discountenance it. While ruling in favor of the defendant's application, the judge ordered that the surety must oppose to an affidavit of means commensurate with bail sum and attach documents showing proof. She also ordered him to submit title documents of landed properties, which he said he had outside of Abuja. For news now, we continue in just a moment. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Now, yeah?
Yes, Oga. Okay. Where I go come find 300 naira change?
I better try look for change now. Don't they do business? Hey, Timmy. I did, bro. I be. I beg, give me 200 naira. Make I take sort out this guy. If I say no get change.
Take it, give us.
I said 200.
Give her 100 naira.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree to pay 200 naira.
How much you think they carry people from that place we carry on the chair?
Okay.
What they touch me?
Now 100 naira. He agreed to pay.
Because that was what you said was the fair. Why you not go pay you? Why you they extort your customer? You see this corruption, what would they hear for news? They see for people everywhere. Now be this so. This is corruption, not in our country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. Let's now talk business with Aneta Felix. Hello, Aneta.
Hello, Fidelia.
So tell me what's making headlines over there.
It's the Central Bank of Nigeria. They injected a total of $8.28 billion into the foreign exchange markets through its direct intervention program between January and June 2019. And that's according to the half-year report of the APIC Bank. According to the reports, the amount was given to different segments of the interbank foreign exchange market, They were meant to manage the demand pressure and ensure exchange rate stability, which are within the core mandates of the Apex Bank. As a result of the intervention, the Naira has remained stable at both the official and parallel markets, exchanging around 306 Naira to the dollar in the first year. Akinwumi Adesina has been nominated for a second term as the president of the African Development Bank, AFDB. Speaking after the Emeka Anyaoku Lifetime Achievement Award over the weekend, Adesina said he was nominated by President Muhammadu Buhari. His nomination comes ahead of the bank's election scheduled to hold in 2020. Listing the progress made by the bank during his first term, Adesina said 16 million people have been provided access to electricity. Last year, the bank was rated the fourth most transparent institution globally. The Nigeria Labour Congress and its affiliate unions today joined the Global Trade Union Movement to mark the 2019 World Day for Decent Work. They're demanding equality jobs along with social protection and respect for workers' rights. This next report has more.
Eliminating poverty and achieving sustainable economic growth begins with a healthy labor force. This is the submission of Nigeria's Labour Congress as it celebrates the 12th anniversary of the World Day for Decent Work. To commemorate the day, the group has organized this march to sensitize workers on their rights.
Our demands are short, simple and straightforward. We demand we demand that workers be treated with dignity in our factories, offices, schools, hospitals, and other workspaces. Workers are not expendable commodities. We create the world. We demand regularized appointment, decent work hours, paid leave, guaranteed remuneration at work, and regular pension at retirement.
In line with the theme for the year, the group charged federal and state governments to increase investment in the care economy to tackle growing demographic challenges.
I want to reiterate that we are determined to enforce the regularization of casual, contract and outsourced workers in line with our labor laws. It is high time we brought to an end all forms of abuses, unfair, punitive and unjust practices that our fellow workers are subjected to, because injury to one remains injury to all.
Investing in the care economy entails providing for persons with short-term or chronic sickness or disabilities. The NLC also wants the government to go a step further and address worsening health and security situations at workplaces.
4 distinguished investigative reports have been announced winner at the 2019 PwC Media Excellence Awards. The event, which held at Radisson Blu Hotel in Lagos, focused on 4 major categories ranging from tax, capital markets, SMEs, as well as business and economy reporting. Aisha Adebayo was there and now reports.
As part of its commitment to promoting quality business reporting and evaluation of the Nigerian economy, leading professional services firm PwC Nigeria has organized its 2019 Media Excellence Awards. The award ceremony, which is the 4th edition, focuses on 4 major categories, including tax, capital markets, SMEs, as well as business and economy reporting. Top officials of the firm explains why journalists are important and should be rewarded.
The importance that we attach to journalism and to journalists. You know, the journalists, they sort of shape the future for us. They shape today as well, and they can even reshape the past, right? So journalists are extremely important, and we just want to celebrate the excellent work that the journalists do to move this country forward.
Yeah, we see the hard work that journalists are putting into the work they do every day in the interest of society and everybody. And we thought that even though the quality is not where it's supposed to be, we could contribute as a knowledge organization in training them. And also, after we've done a couple of workshops, we thought that we should recognize them by presenting awards to them for excellent reporting.
Close to 1,000 entries were submitted for the awards, and after careful analysis, the top 3 candidates from all 4 categories are unveiled. Now comes the moment of truth. One by one, the winners are announced. Each of them is presented with a plaque and a cash reward of 500,000 naira. Winner of the tax reporting category, Kelechuku Iroma of Ripples Nigeria, appreciates PwC for the privilege.
It's a great experience. It's fantastic. It's usually the dream of every journalist who enters an award like this to win. So I feel great. I'm happy for the privilege, and thanks to PwC for organizing this platform to reward journalistic excellence. I think it's a great thing for the profession, and it will always inspire others to do great stories.
Other winners advise fellow journalists to be persistent in the discharge of their duties.
I used to tell my fellow journalists that we are the mouthpiece of the people. The people they don't have the means to to talk to the government or to fight for themselves. So they believe in us to do that. So that is why I have dedicated myself. I take it as a responsibility to hold the government and every other person that is doing things illegally to harass women or to intimidate Nigerians.
The award belongs to everyone. It celebrates good journalism. So let's keep writing, let's keep doing the best we can, and one day we might also be fortunate to win too.
For PwC, this annual award is not just to celebrate excellence in business reporting. It's also aimed at encouraging journalists to challenge the norm and positively affect the Nigerian economy with their reportage. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
We'll take a break now and review trading activities on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange after this. Equities investors embarked on profit taking of stocks that gained the previous week, leading the market to close today on a negative note. The all-share index depreciated by minus 0.45%, and that's to close at 26,866.41 basis points, and that's against the minus 0.36% depreciation recorded previously. And we see here that the market cap is also wrapped up at 13 trillion naira. The market breadth did close negative, with the oil and gas and consumer goods sector recording the most losses. As we can see here, the index follows Seplat Petroleum Development Company, a cement company of northern Nigeria. We also have Stanbic IBTC Bank and Cadbury Nigeria PLC. Now, they all recorded the lowest price in the past 7 market days. We can see here that the index gainers today at the UACN, Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, Africa Prudential PLC, and Nascon Allied Industries PLC as well. And on to the market summary, it shows that a total of 151.714 million shares were traded at a value of over 1 billion naira in a total of 2,854 deals. And now to the global stock markets. We see that FTSE is rising by 0.59%, and that's adding 100 points, despite doubts over resumption of U.S.-China trade talks on Thursday. And today, the Dow Jones flipped between gains and losses and eventually closed with a loss of about, gains of 0.032%. Nikkei, however, is down by 0.16%, pulled heavily by SoftBank, as the company comes under pressure from some investors for its bet on loss-making businesses. And that's it from here, Fidelia.
Well, thank you, Aneta, for that review. Let's now move to the foreign scene. Rwandan authorities have paraded 5 suspects linked to a deadly weekend attack near the Volcanoes National Park, which left 14 civilians dead The 5 rebels allegedly captured in an operation in which police said 19 terrorists were killed were paraded and made to answer direct questions from journalists. The suspect told journalists they were from the FDLR Hutu militia based in neighboring DR Congo. They say their aim was to overthrow the government in comments whose authenticity cannot be verified. The national park is an area repeatedly targeted by Rwandan rebels operating from the DRC. And in sports, Fame Motorsport, in partnership with BMW, has organized the biggest auto sport event in Nigeria. The event was held at the Tafawa Balewa Square, and hundreds of riders and bikers performed to the cheer of spectators. This next report has more.
Hundreds of car enthusiasts and lovers of the BMW brand are gathered to watch riders show off their skills with supercars and motorbikes. It's the 3rd edition of the BMW Festival, also known as Bima Fest, organized by Fame Motors in partnership with BMW. Spectators are entertained with drift, autocross challenges, supercars parade, BMX stunts, and musical performances from artists. But this event is beyond entertainment. It's also an advocacy for education and youth empowerment and an avenue to rebrand Nigeria.
The major highlights of this event is to show globally that in Nigeria we can organize a global event that we can use to rebrand and reposition Nigeria image globally. Secondly, to encourage our youth that STEM is real. Science, technology, engineering and mathematics. That is what motorsport is all about. So we want our kids to embrace STEM and become the best STEM students all over the world so that they can become experts and dominate motorsports in the nearest future.
Organizers say they aimed to pull off the biggest auto sports event in sub-Saharan Africa, and fans agree they did just that.
Since the history of this country, this is the first time something like this is happening. Me personally, I had to travel to Monaco or to Dubai, or to Abu Dhabi to witness things like this. So I think this is the first beginning of creating different experience when it comes to auto sports. So I just love to support innovation, and that's why we're here.
Very, very exciting, one of a kind, and I think we need more like this. It gives you what would I call it? A sense of purpose, a sense of idea that Nigeria is going global.
When you think of a professional rider, it's easy to imagine a man. But Boss Lady is not a status quo. She's been riding for 3 years now, and for her, riding means freedom.
Before I started riding, I remember some of my colleagues at work were like, oh, what, go and get married, and I'm like, can't you do both simultaneously? Riding for me is liberating. I find a lot of freedom in it, and it's a fun way to meet new people.
At the end of the event, 3 riders went home with prizes worth 225,000 naira. This event is privately funded, and considering the turn-up here, it has the potential to attract global attention and generate revenue for the country with both international and government sponsorship. Annette Felix, TV360, Nigeria.
And it's a wrap on News Now. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.